Learn how to use video in a new way as a tool to support each phase of the process of designing an interactive system. The focus is on interaction. Instead of simply specifying abstract sets of tasks and functions, we want to find out how users react to existing systems and then create better ways for them to interact with new systems. These techniques have been tested in many contexts by both professional designers and students, as well as by many types of users: air traffic controllers, bridge engineers, research biologists, and even kids. Video can capture real-world events as they occur, either staged or live. Video can capture the details of a user's interaction with a new system, providing a way to informally sketch interaction ideas. Video can be a creative tool for expressing new design ideas, allowing users to experience simulated technology that does not yet exist. Video allows designers to quickly and informally explore trade-offs among different design alternatives. Finally, video is a powerful communication medium, facilitating the sharing of results, discussion of ideas, and exploration of ideas for future designs. Video is technically very simple if you obey a few basic rules. But be careful, video is also a powerful medium. Please consider ethical issues and obtain the informed consent of all participants. We will now demonstrate step by step an example of designing a new interactive system using these video-based techniques. We will observe how people use existing objects, brainstorm ideas for how people might interact with new augmented objects, prototype the design of a particular new object in use, and finally, evaluate how well the design works.
Come in.
We're doing a project on Post-it notes, interactive Post-it notes, and we'd like to videotape people who use Post-it notes. Would you mind if I...
No, that's all right. Yes, come in.
This is Michelle, and we can explain to you how we use the camera here.
Yeah. So we're going to do the interview here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I could set the camera in here.
Yeah, that's all right.
The goal is not to videotape you, but rather your environment. And I'll show you what I have in the frame. So I have the computer, and you can take a look at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before we start the interview, I have to shoot the title page that Wendy has prepared here, so we have a record of what's happening. Okay, so we're all set.
So the first thing I want you to know is that when we use the videotape, we'll only be using it for ourselves. The only other possibility is if we show a little piece of it in a conference or something like that, but it's basically not going anywhere else. Now, to start with, I'd like you to tell me about this specific Post-it note that I notice on your screen. Can you tell me where it came from, why you wrote it, and what you think is going to happen to it?
Mm-hmm. So I put it there about a couple of weeks ago because these are two things I don't want to forget to do. So the first thing is a scientific area I want to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So I think basically I'm going to start by look it up on the internet. The second thing is another thing I have to do, but it's actually something I have to discuss with someone. So I want to keep that in mind. That's why the Post-it note is needed, because it's something I have to do in the long run. So
can you tell me when that Post-it note will go away, when you'll get rid of it?
as soon as these two things are done, are dealt with, but I don't know that it can be in a week or a month.
Can you tell me if you can think of any situation in the past week or so in which you've used a Post-it note, anything unusual or just memorable in any way?
The only thing I can remember is when I put that Post-it note there. It actually came from another Post-it note that I had over there on my desk. That Post-it note over there had a longer list of things to do, but because there was only one thing left on the list that I hadn't done, I decided to change it for a new one, and I moved it from there to there. And then a few days later, I did the second thing that I had to be aware of.
And why did you move it from there to here?
Right. I wasn't sure which place was the best, but I thought at the time that because I was doing more software programming, I was going to be sitting at this desk more often. So I thought if I put it there, it will be in front of my eyes more often.
Can you tell me if you keep post-it notes anywhere else around your desk, or if you have them, any other post-it notes?
I do actually keep a pad of post-it notes in my drawer there.
Oh, look, yeah, I see you have some stuck here.
Yeah, you're actually right. I didn't remember them. These are not things I have to do, as opposed to what's written on this one. But as you can see, a fax number and a couple of telephone numbers and an email address.
Why do you keep them in your drawer?
Well, these are not things I have to do, but just things I might need every now and then. So I don't need them on a daily basis, so I don't need to remember them. And I just need to write them down somewhere and know that they're there. And that's all.
Great. Well, thank you. That's all we need.
Welcome.
That was very helpful. If you'd like to see the video, we can show it to you afterwards. We have some editing to do, but then you know how to contact me.
All right. Yes,
Thank
I
you
will.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Can you tell me, do you use post-it notes?
Yes, I actually do.
Okay. So can you tell me how you use post-it notes?
Well, let's see. I do use them, but, well, to write notes on, to jot things down.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I noticed that over here you have a post-it note.
Yes,
And
definitely.
that one, it looks like it's giving directions on doing
Yes,
things.
on the-
Those are website things on there?
Yes, there are websites and there are instructions.
Would you like an electronic post-it? Wouldn't it be nice to have something where you could have this information on your screen or someplace where that you could do something with it? What would you do with an electronic post-it note?
Very good question. I don't immediately see what an electronic post-it note could do that I couldn't do just by editing in a little file in a corner somewhere.
Can you tell me about this post-it note that you have on your monitor here?
Well, this one is from about 2 years ago,
2 years ago.
so I will take the opportunity to remove it.
Okay. Can you tell me about some of these other post-it notes that you have here? For
Well,
example, this one?
this one I don't even recognize. I don't remember writing it.
How about this one here?
Well, it's from the audiovisual department. It was just a call their secretary back.
And why do you have this attached?
That's just a piece of loose paper that got stuck to the post-it note. It's just a little reminder of how the endings work in French.
And I see that you have one attached to an envelope.
To an
here.
envelope. It was just a meeting in the University of Paris, I believe.
Is there any relationship between the envelope and the post-it?
I don't think so, because the envelope is from my bank.
So you don't throw your post-its away?
You can probably tell that I throw very little away.
Can you think of a situation in the past week or so where you would have used post-it notes in some kind of unusual way? Or when something went wrong?
No, not really. I'm not a big user of post-it notes. I mean, I use them in the classical way. I very, very seldom use post-it notes except just when I find people are absent.
This specific post-it note that I notice on your screen, can you tell me where it came from, why you wrote it, and what you think is going to happen to it?
So I put it there about a couple of weeks ago because these are two things I don't want to forget to do. So the first thing is a scientific area I want to look at. So I think basically I'm going to start by look it up on the internet. The second thing is another thing I have to do, but it's actually something I have to discuss with someone. So I want to keep that in mind. That's why the post-it note is needed, because it's something I have to do in the long run. So
Can you tell me when that post-it note will go away, when you'll get rid of it?
as soon as these two things are done, are dealt with, but I don't know that. It can be in a week or a month.
Can you tell me if you can think of any situation in the past week or so in which you've used a post-it note, anything unusual or just memorable in any way?
The only thing I can remember is when I put that post-it note there. It actually came from another post-it note that I had over there on my desk. That post-it note over there had a longer list of things to do, but because there was only one thing left on the list that I hadn't done, I decided to change it for a new one, and I moved it from there to there. And then a few days later, I did the second thing that I had to be aware of.
Do you keep post-it notes anywhere else in your office? Can you show me?
I do actually keep a pad of post-it notes in my drawer there.
Oh, look, yeah, I see you have some here.
Yeah, you're actually right. I didn't remember them.
What are these?
These are not things I have to do, as opposed to what's written on this one. But as you can see, a fax number and a couple of telephone numbers and an email address.
Why do you keep them in your drawer?
Well, these are not things I have to do, but just things I might need every now and then. So I don't need them on a daily basis, so I don't need to remember them, and I just need to write them down somewhere and know that they're there.
Or show me some post-it notes?
Well, often if I have a phone call, I'll take down the information on a post-it, and then instead of recopying it maybe in the notebook where I need the information, I just stick the post-it in.
All right. Okay. And how long do they stay there?
Well, normally I would take them out when the information's no longer relevant, but they tend to
noticed
stay there.
that you have this attached. That's interesting. So you have the post-it note to attach something that's
to
not a
attach
post-it
something.
note.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Can you give me an example in the past week or so where you've used some post-it notes in a way that might be somewhat unusual or different?
Well, one thing is that when I give a conference, at a conference I went to last week, I prepare my transparencies and notes that I want to remind myself of something to say that's not on the transparency. I'll take a post-it and write the note and then just stick it on there so that I see the idea.
Do you have any examples of other post-it notes in your office that you could show me?
Well, for instance, over here in my filing cabinet, I've written with post-its on the boxes because I wasn't sure that I was going to leave the same information, so I put it there for the time being. So.
And anything else? I see, there's a book in there that has some post-its.
Yes, well, sometimes when I'm reading a book and have an idea that I want to be sure to remember,
So this is really quite a lot of them. And do the colors mean anything?
well, now these are bookmarks. These I use just as a bookmark because they're parts that I go back to fairly frequently. And
So, but do the colors, you put them in at the top and on the side, does that mean anything?
no, not particularly.
And then this is actually a note that you...
Well, let's see, that I think is a note that was written for me, left for me,
Okay.
knowing that I would be sure to find it there.
Leaving the office to drive down to come here, and I had to call this guy, and I knew that I had to call him, and I called him just before I left the office, and he was busy, and then I would call him while I was driving. So that's why I just jotted down his number and took it with me, brought it with me to the car, and put it here on the dashboard so I could call him as I was driving.
Okay, so this is a reminder.
This is a reminder, yeah.
Is this the usual way you use post-it notes?
I would say yes.
We'll start out by trying to generate as many ideas as we can for an augmented post-it note. And what I mean by that is these work really well as paper, but they're missing something in terms of being tied into the net, into telephones, whatever. The key rule is that we're trying to generate as many ideas as we can and not criticize the ideas. We'll do evaluation of ideas later. And there's one other thing, which is that everybody is required to have at least one stupid idea. And you don't have to tell us which is the stupid idea. I'm intrigued with an idea about the post-it in the car, and what I would like is not to have to get the information there from picking up the telephone handset, which is kind of dangerous, but to actually have the post-it note itself have the message appear. So a dynamic post-it on the dashboard.
In that sense, you'd also go the other direction and have the post-it communicate the telephone number written on the post-it to the telephone.
Yeah. I was thinking of
that's
that.
And you could do that just by sticking the post-it somewhere on the telephone.
Calling post-it note, that's nice. Yeah.
You might need for at least some post-it kind of you know, like it's going red, orange, red, or whatever.
An aging.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of an aging
Yeah.
indicator, the best before
Because
date.
you could think of aging as the post-it is getting older, or the post-it gets brighter because the deadline approaches.
And you can really have, for example, a kind of alarm clock or whatever linked to
Yeah.
post-it for,
Yeah.
I mean, for really urgent matters.
Secure post-its.
Thumbprint controlled post-its.
Secure.
Email post-it.
Use back of post-it.
Yeah,
A roll of
stretchable.
post-its.
Yeah, stretchable. Yeah.
Sticking a post-it remotely to someone's desk.
Self-destructing post-it
There's
sticks.
two post-it
Floating post-it notes in the air.
post-it notes that are visible only for you.
Long-term post-it.
Adjustable glue.
Adjustable glue.
Taking a copy of a post-it without having to copying it.
Oops, get some post-it out of my hand.
Post-it space, which is duplicated.
Speech input post-it.
Turn a part of a telephone conversation into a post-it. Post-its are also patches for
Patches. So we
for
have.
programs that we can't correct in any other way.
Okay. I think we're sort of winding down now, so I think it's time for us to take a break. Now what we should do is each take our marker and choose our 3 favorite things, but don't forget to reread everything first.
I like the self-deprecating because spend too much time copying. I like the stuff about aging. I got 3.
I think
Yes.
so, yes. So we have this transferring information, aging visible on the post-it, and the self-duplicating post-its were ones that more than one person was interested in.
These deal with transferring. I mean, there's a scanning, there's a transfer.
What we should each do is think of one that we want to lead. So you want to lead the idea on transferring, and then other people can either do variations on that or do their own idea. Now we're going to start the video brainstorming. Let's start with your idea, Michelle, on the transfer.
I'll set up the camera and maybe you can prepare some.
Yeah, don't forget we should shoot that just so that the
Yep.
tape has the right title at the very beginning.
Could we do the duplicating?
Okay, let's do
Yeah.
the duplicating as sort of a subset. Can you keep track of the ideas in order just on the sheet there?
Okay.
So what would you like us to prepare? Let's see.
Well, we have 2 post-its the same, so it happens when you
Right, so
duplicate them.
if you can write them.
And program one.
We want to show that you write a post-it and
Okay.
it's on a pad, so if you take the post-it off, the information is still there. So we
Okay.
should start with
With a blank one.
a blank one with the number already created on the one underneath.
Wow.
And then on video you'll show writing the same thing and peeling it off. You ready? So
Yeah.
there are 2 ways of doing it. Either you do the talking while you do the interaction,
Mhm.
or I explain what you're doing, except I don't know what you're going to do.
It's probably better that I talk.
Okay, so let's go.
So the first idea is self-duplicating post-its. The idea is that, well, you might want to write somebody's phone number down on a post-it, so you write it quickly. and you say, okay, well I need to go off to the fax machine to send Michael a fax, but I still want to keep the phone number, so I just take off the post-it to go off to the fax machine, and I've still got the phone number for next time.
Great.
This is another duplicating post-it. Actually, there's two
We can
variations
do the calendar
of this.
and the hand one.
And right, we can do that all in one.
Yeah.
I guess I should write. Do you want to explain and I write?
So I roll. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So the idea here is to transfer information. So here we are writing a number on a post-it, and then we want to go around with it and or to stick it, for example, on diary. So the idea is we take it away, perhaps it's here, but it's still there. But for example, I might need this number, and I put it on my hand, and I go away with the number.
Why don't you now transfer it into the diary?
Ready?
Okay. So the idea now is that you can transfer, you might want to put a post-it in your diary, and then that takes up a lot of room, so you want to transfer the information from the post-it really into the diary. So you've got the post-it there, you just rub on it a bit, then you can take the post-it off, and you've transferred the information into your diary.
There's another what I thought you were saying was something slightly different.
It's the other way around. You want to transfer it to the post-it from the diary.
Yeah, right. We'll do time-lapse photography. Okay, Michelle? So I have this phone number here that I'd like to put onto a post-it. So I stick my post-it note on here, and I rub it, and I get it.
And take away your post-it.
Right. Okay,
You're
I'm
going to
sitting
give
here.
a phone call,
All
and you're
right.
kind of
Let's get a
scratching
different-
your head. Where is this number? It's coming
And then it
here.
appears in my... Okay, so let's see. This is the flying post-it. Okay, there you go, very quickly. All right, so tell me what I'm doing.
Do we want an audio flying post-it? Or silent
Let's
flying
start with the
post-it?
simple one and then do a
Okay,
quick...
so you're
second.
working, and
All right,
suddenly the
okay.
flying post-it is going to arrive.
Okay. Okay, I'd better call now. Okay. Hello? You needed me? Okay, I'm on my way. Click.
This might be better, is that you've pre-programmed it.
This is the reminder one.
Yeah. Okay, so you
Oh, I
write,
just-
I
I-
need to ring Joe on this number at 4 p.m.
Okay,
You post the post-it in the air.
right.
We cut. You do something so we think it's later. Take off your jacket.
All right.
And then you sit down again, and we film the post-it popping up at 4 p.m.
Where is the
You
meter?
put it in the phone and you ring.
Tell me when you're... So you're
Oh, yes, she's
videotaping
got
me?
Post-it. Okay.
Can you see me from there? Okay. So I'd better call Michelle at 4 o'clock at the at home. Okay.
You can stick it in the air.
Yeah, you're supposed
I
to
have
stick it.
Stick it in the air. Sorry. Okay. Now I'll just stick it in the air here, and then I don't actually want to look at it right now. I'll just look at it later.
We can have the 4 p.m. thing.
Yes. Okay. All right. Tell me when you're ready. Okay. Let's see. There's something I had to do today. Oops. Oh right. It's 4. I'd better call Michelle. Let me just take this and stick it on the phone. Hello. You said to call at 4?
Okay. That was wild.
Now let's try. I like the idea about the car and having the post-it note appear. So this is what did we call this? The distributed
No, it's
post-it notes.
sent post-it note.
Shared?
Shared
No.
post-it.
It's more sent.
Emailed post-it.
Email
Emailed.
post-it.
Emailed post-it. Yeah, but it's not just email to your. Well, we'll just be really specific to the car, but it could be to the refrigerator or wherever. I guess I have to take credit for this one, don't I? Okay, so if you do that, And then I'm going to make a car here.
Make big call.
That's my steering wheel. This is my dashboard. And here's my radio. So that's very important. And I guess what we'll do is we'll have, so the Post-it's going to arrive.
You want to pre-post it.
Yeah. So the idea is that I'm going to be in my office, and then you start by taping me writing the Post-it. I'm going to write it twice. What do we decide to do?
Dentist at 7.
So this is for me to remind you when you're driving home that you have got to get to the dentist by 7. Okay. Oh, I know. I need to remind Stuart to go to the dentist. Dentist at 7 o'clock, and I'll just put okay. When you turn around, can you see? You should have it so that you can see up to about here, but not there. When do I appear?
Here. Stop here. Oh,
Okay.
I'm starting.
Okay.
I am driving. Bing. Message, yeah. Almost forgot that one.
Okay, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm starting.
Oh, look. Good. You said okay. All right, so can we look at that again and just see really quickly what we got there? Because I'm not sure. Rewind is up here. Okay, so here we go.
I was blocked.
Oh, I know. I need to remind. Such a great actress. So we can barely see that.
Yeah, badly placed.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to try a different take with the okay and then
Okay.
Do I erase it or?
No, we keep it. You had some other ideas about how to do this. So we can start again. All right, I have to remind Stuart that he needs to go to the dentist at 7. So I'll just dentist at 7. And then I'll send it to him. I think he's in the car right now, so I'll just send it to him in the car. And so we're going to do time-lapse photography. So what I want you to do is hit pause. So you're driving. Okay.
Driving along.
Okay. And then I just did this here. This makes it look like it magically appears.
Okay, is it going to vanish when I press on OK?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do 2 time lapse since you think it's cool. New message. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten to go to the dentist. Okay. Off to the dentist.
Very good. All right, and then
During the pause, you write OK.
right. Okay.
Pause.
Okay. Great, you got the message. Yay! Okay, I think
We're done.
stop there.
So the first idea is self-duplicating post-its. The idea is that, well, you might want to write somebody's phone number down on a post-it, so you write it quickly, and you say, okay, well, I need to go off to the fax machine to send Michael a fax, but I still want to keep the phone number, so I just take off the post-it to go off to the fax machine, and I've still got the phone number for next time.
Here it's to transfer information. So here we are writing a number on a post-it, and then we want to go around with it or to stick it, for example, on diary. So the idea is we take it away. It's here, but it's still there. But for example, I might need this number, and I put it on my hand, and I go away with the number.
So the idea now is that you can transfer, you might want to put a post-it in your diary and then that takes up a lot of room, so you want to transfer the information from the post-it really into the diary. So you've got the post-it there, you just rub on it a bit, then you can take the post-it off and you've transferred the information into your diary.
So I have this phone number here that I'd like to put onto a post-it. So I stick my post-it note on here and I rub it. I get it.
And take away your post-it.
Right. Okay. Okay, I better call now. Okay. Hello? You needed me? Okay. So I'd better call Michelle at 4 o'clock at at home. And I guess I'll put in the number. Okay. Good call. That's right. Okay, now I'll just stick it in the air here. And then I don't actually want to look at it right now. I'll just look at it later. Okay. Let's see. There's something I had to do today. Oh right, it's 4. I'd better call Michelle. Let me just take this and stick it on the phone. Hello? You said to call at 4? Oh, I know. I need to remind Stuart to go to the dentist at 10 o'clock, and he's driving home now. So let me just write this here. Dentist at 7 o'clock, and I'll just put OK, and I have to tap it, I guess, and that sends it off. Okay.
I am arriving. Bing! Message, yep. Almost forgot that one.
Oh, look. Good. You said okay. All right, I have to remind Stuart that he needs to go to the dentist at 7, so I'll just dentist at 7. And then I'll send it to him. I think he's in the car right now, so I'll just send it to him in the car. And
Driving along. New message. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten to go to the dentist. Okay. Off to the dentist.
okay. Great, he got the message.
We would like to look at some of the interviews that we've conducted and try to come up with ideas for use scenario. So the first one is Annabelle.
I do actually keep a pad of post-it notes in my drawer there. Oh look, yeah,
I see you have some here.
yeah, you're actually right. I didn't remember them. These are not things I have to do, but as you can see, a fax number and a couple of telephone numbers and an email address.
Why do you keep them in your drawer?
Well, I don't need them on a daily basis, so I don't need to remember them.
That's kind of nice because it's the idea that you don't have post-its in front of you all the time.
That's the kind of thing I do also.
But you're using a portable storage system, and she's
No, but
using.
I also put
But
them
you
in
also
a
do that too.
closet or-
Good. So we should think about how we weave that into the scenario.
So I'm going to fast forward to another clip we have.
All right. This is a really interesting one where Jean has the book.
for me. Left for me.
So she's using Post-its to indicate to somebody else where to look in the book, and she's also got a Post-it that comes back from somebody else. So that's again something I think we can use in this scenario.
I had to call this guy, and I called him just before I left the office, and he was busy. And then I would call him while I was driving. So that's why I just jotted down his number and took it with me, brought it with me to the car, and put it here on the dashboard so I could call him as I was driving.
That shows the use of Post-it notes as both a reminder and being sort of in the right place at the right time.
Except when it falls down. That's what usually happens when you stick them on a computer or a dashboard.
At least for now, in terms of the scenario, it's an interesting, somewhat different use that we don't usually see.
Now maybe we should start trying to write the use scenario.
Right, yeah. So who's our main character?
Well, I think we should do what we usually do with
Alice,
ABC.
Bob, Charlie. It would be nice to have Bob in an office, but with a somewhat more interesting job, like an architect or something. We could have Bob have to get interrupted by his wife calling up and saying, you know, you need to pick up the babysitter, and so then he does the thing that we saw with the car there. And then we need to think of something with the book.
If he's at the office, maybe someone has left him a book. The thing that happens all the time, you go to someone's office to discuss something, or to give a document, and the person is not there. And I think people use Post-it notes to leave a message, to ask to call back.
You can use also the Post-it notes inside the book to indicate things. So you might have two kinds of Post-its in this case. The ones that were already there and the one that you add just to say you weren't there and just look at this.
So Bob is the architect and Alice is his boss, and she's found some things, some materials and things that she thinks he should take a look at. What's the relationship between those Post-it notes?
Maybe you can use one like a to-do list, like the things he has to do during the day. So you might add a new item on this list for the book and another one for his wife calling.
So we have the thing where, what's her name? Alice?
Alice, yeah.
She comes in, she leaves a book with a Post-it on it saying, you know, can you do this by tomorrow and then call me when you're done?
Oh, that's good, because then it's not just... So there's three things in that book. There's the places to look at, so it's bookmarkers. 2, it's a to-do list, which you were saying. And 3, it's at 9 o'clock, remember to call me at this number.
So then he comes back, finds the book, put the item about calling his boss back in his to-do list.
Yeah.
And then sometime later he gets a phone call from his wife. She says, well, you have to call, where are we? A, B, C?
She's Charlotte, and so Debbie, babysitter named Debbie.
So Charlotte calls and tells him, I found a babysitter for tonight, but you'll have to pick her up. They only have her phone number. So he's going to take note of his phone number on a Post-it.
So he gets another Post-it note, he writes the phone number down, and then he calls her up. And then the last thing with this drawer that I'd like to just kind of fit in, can we just have like another colleague just come to the door and say, by the way, the door code has changed?
I mean, I know I have, it's actually not a Post-it, but it's hidden, a thing with a number of passwords. So maybe he has in his drawer a thing with this type of...
sort of secure information. It sounds like we have enough to get started on writing up the scenario, so we should go off and get these ideas down on paper. I have here what we did on the use scenario. Our goal today is to turn this into a scenario for an augmented Post-it note, sort of a future scenario or a design scenario. In addition to looking through this, I'd like us also to take a look at the things that we brainstormed. I'd like to start with some of the video brainstorming ideas that we did, which were sort of the more interesting ideas that we wanted to pull from here. So Michelle, if you can run the video here. So this is the first one on duplicating Post-its. This was your idea and Enlof's idea.
Let's do up the phone number for next time.
All right, so we can use that idea, I think.
That's why we played variations of this.
Right, well we have this transferring Post-it notes idea too.
So you've got the Post-it there, you just rub on it a bit, then you can take the Post-it off and transfer the information.
Yeah, I like this one.
That's what you need.
That's the flying Post-it.
That's the flying Post-it note, yeah. I just stick it in the air. And it kind of floats.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should look at this one
Yeah,
too
okay.
because we have the car in our scenario here.
Mhm,
So this is emailing a post-it note to the car. We can't really see it very well, but you get the idea. Oh, right, and that's a communication back. So it's happening in both places at the same time. That's the idea. Okay, we could do more with that, but I just want to go back quickly over these ideas here. Now we're thinking about our use scenario, and in our use scenario we've got several things happening. We've got something hidden in a drawer. We've got the notion of bookmarks in a book, communication with somebody, reminders that are physically placed on objects that move.
Here's the thing of secure post-its.
Yeah.
And then we have this self-revealing post-it note. So we had this discussion of, you know, a post-it that disappears and then appears. Basically, you put your thumb on it.
So that would be used for the code.
Yes,
door
for the
code
door
or
code, for
something like this.
example.
I also like the idea of the alarm, the post-it that reveals
Yeah.
to you
When
just when you
pushes
need
the-
it. Or
Right. Well, we have actually something like that in this scenario. He's supposed to call Alice at
Yeah.
9 o'clock in the morning. So I think with that, we can go back to this scenario. So what can we do is we just work through this. What happens? Bob sort of arrives and she has a book. He's not there, so she writes a post-it on his desk.
In the future scenario, is she really going into his office with a book, or can she do
Well-
this remotely? Or?
This is an interesting thing. You could imagine that she sends him a message that appears on his desk, but the thing is she
she has the book.
has the book. We don't have to get rid of real post-it notes. Real post-it notes are actually really useful. But then when we get here, when Bob's arriving, now what he's got to do is kind of sort the information.
She could transfer this information to his to-do list with transfer ribbon.
Yes, right.
We had a couple of ideas in the video brainstorming where you sort of just do some kind of drag and drop, I guess, or you press it and it goes to a certain place or something.
I think the important part of this is the reminder to call her tomorrow at 9. If we use a post-it that sort of appears magically at 9, the
Yeah.
post-it will have the phone number, so he doesn't
Right.
need to carry the phone number with him. The idea
Good
is-
point, yeah.
So basically here, what we want to do is have him transfer something in his to-do list without having to physically copy it. And the other part is setting an alarm for, I don't like alarms.
Sets a
Like a
reminder.
reminder,
Sets a
reminder.
blank post-it note, yeah. And for that, we have to think about what the interaction is going to be like.
Maybe he has a calendar and putting that post-it.
The date or the time could be used for the remote post-it to change the color or something to indicate that the right time is coming.
Okay, that's an interesting set of things. All right, so now we've got the story about his wife
Yes.
calling. So he's got this number, which he writes down, and then he calls Debbie. It would be kind of nice if he could just have this number go into his phone.
So yeah, because first he calls her to get the address.
Right.
And the thing is, he's going to want this to be in his car.
How do we get it into the car?
Yeah, this email post-it, when you press OK on the post-it, it goes to
And
the
it
car.
goes to a specific place, okay.
Then he's in his car. So now the post-it is already there. Yeah, so then he drives to the place and he has to walk to find this apartment because she's in an apartment building or something. So he takes,
Right,
he has
here
to
we've
take
got
a
it
physical copy of the
with him.
post-it with him.
Right. In this scenario, he gets to go to the theater with his wife. So he comes home, he drops his briefcase on the floor, he forgets about the post-it note, goes off to the theater, and in the morning forgets to call Alex because the post-it note has fallen off. So we got to solve this problem for the poor guy. You know, this is
Oh,
where
but the thing is that it sets this alarm. So assuming he gets into work the next day, the post-it that he set with Alice's phone number will glow on his screen.
I think we're ready to try to
Yeah,
go
I
off
think
and think about the interaction, and then the next step is we'll come back after lunch and do the full storyboards. Okay? We need to work out different parts of this and really think about what the interaction is going to look like and what sort of user actually does. Normally what we do is we start out with a title card and we're just going to say this is the augmented post-it note, and we do a voiceover with this business of explaining who he is and what's the basic situation.
Is there a voiceover during the whole sequence or just in the beginning? Because there are things like
Yeah.
the tickets for the theater that you can show. And
Well, do we need to say all that at the beginning?
No,
No, I think we just say it's
just to
it's
remind
4:45
us.
and Alice is coming in Bob's office.
Now, we have a number of things that are going to happen. I guess the first thing that happens is we have Alice coming to the door and looking in. So we need a wide shot of his office. And she's got a book with her, so we need that as a prop.
I guess you'll be Alice.
I guess I'm Alice, yes. So I've got this book in my hand. I'm coming in, and I see that he's not there.
So basically what we have is, first we have a shot with you coming in with your book.
Right.
So that's one shot. And
Right.
then the next one will be more like a close-up.
Of her hands with the book. So we have to see sort of head and shoulders and the desk. So she's got to have, it's zoomed in, but it's still a context shot. And then we probably should have one very focused one on the writing of the post-it. At this point, should we do one of these silent movie things where we say 20 minutes later? I kind of like that because it makes it easier to cut, actually. And then we have Bob arriving at the door. You can be Bob. Okay.
Hi, Bob.
That's good. So then you can be Ed.
Okay, so he reads the note. He's doing two things. One is transferring something in his to-do list, and the other one is transferring something in his calendar.
So we need to think about what the interaction is like.
we have the number on the post-it. And then maybe I could do something like the copy-paste like we saw on the video. Like I would transfer it in my wallet like this, blah blah. And then I would stick this on a calendar, and that would remind me later.
Well, when we film this, let's assume we have a physical calendar.
Yeah.
The calendar usually has days and and hours, and I could put the post-it here and I don't know, click on the time or something. Do an action to show.
This post-it here is associated with this time in the calendar.
Yeah.
And if you put it on the day or on the month, then it's more generally speaking relevant to that.
So maybe what I do is something like
You highlight
circle this or
this part and say this part goes in.
and this is here.
You work out the storyboard for that, and then let's discuss how are we going to do this business in the car?
I think we should start videotaping this scenario. So what we're going to do is do a title card where I'll do some voiceover to explain the context. Okay. So this is Thursday afternoon, it's 4:45 p.m. In the scenario we had two shots, one shot where you're entering the door and one shot when you are sitting at the desk and writing the thing. But given the setting here, we could do
I could just come
maybe
in
we
and
can do it in one.
I can do.
Yeah, you come in,
Does
and
that
can
work?
you follow her?
Yeah.
Well, then focus more on the book, because we are interested in what she's doing with the book.
I say I better leave him a note. Hi, Bob. This
So
doesn't
the note should read something like, "Hi Bob, check the mark page for ideas and call me at this phone number tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Can you read what I'm actually writing?
Okay, zoom in maybe.
It might not be.
What we'll do
we
is
don't need to because
yeah,
we'll
after
shoot
we'll
another
do
thing
a
that shows
shot of
of
the
finishing the post-it note. Okay, so I will just
So
write
let's-
that quickly. All right, so let's try it. Let's just go. Right. So.
Okay, let's go.
Bob? Oh, I guess he's not here. Well, I better leave him a note. Let's see. Now, don't overshoot because we're going to try to cut at exactly the end of the...
That's the thing, is you want to stop.
Right. In fact, I would re-roll back and cut when I'm starting to write this.
Okay.
And then we'll shoot a shot of me writing. Just rewind.
Yeah, because it was pretty long, and since your hand was right in front, so it won't.
We should show it actually being on the book, right?
Okay, maybe you could prepare a title card saying 20 minutes later.
We'll do that. Okay.
And should I read what's in the note?
Shouldn't it be my voice?
No, maybe I'm doing all the voiceovers. So.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what the note says. Hi Bob, check the mark page and sketch the new entry. Please call me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tomorrow at 9 a.m. Alice.
Okay. And then we shoot this.
So then we have this 20 minutes later. Okay. so Bob is coming back. What we said in the storyboard is that the first thing you do is actually to transfer the phone number in your PDA. So you unstick the note and you do the rubbing thing.
But the rubbing thing has to produce something underneath that stays. So we have to have this stuck on and then magically have that stay. You see what I mean? So if I do 7, and then the idea is that this sticks underneath.
The other thing is we can do a cut edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, although, well, it's kind of nice if you do this and then you just pick it up and it's there.
So what we're going to do is you're going to come in, so you do the thing, and then we'll cut, and then we'll do a close-up to your little device here to show the number that's been copied. Because then the next shot is going to be the transfer to the calendar. Ready?
Okay, let's go.
Oh, what's this? Another note from Alice with a new phone number. Yep.
We had planned to do a cut, so should I do a close-up of this? So let's do this quickly. Okay, so the phone number for Alice has been copied onto his wallet. So maybe now you sit down.
Like I was doing something, and then just when I about to leave, taking the book with me and putting this.
Yeah,
in the
because you
calendar,
left
because I
the
leave
post-it
this
note here, and you said, "Oh, and I'd better put that in," which is
In
not
the right
exactly what
place.
we had planned.
Yeah.
You're trying to stick to the scenario. The next thing you were doing, once you've put the number in your device, was to put this in your calendar. So maybe what you do is you close up on here, on the post-it. The idea is that you'll open this. You were sticking it. Well, this is obviously an augmented field effects. Why don't we have something, an icon like alarm? Let's have a row of icons. That would be email, for example, and here a little clock.
Right.
So that's the alarm.
And then what we can do is
what else
have
could we
that.
have? Car to post the thing in the car.
Right. And then home.
So basically, come here, you circle this.
And
Do I
then this
really
should-
write on
then
this?
should
Because then
highlight.
we can do this only once.
No, we
Yeah,
can do
maybe
it.
we
We can do it like
Yeah.
this.
I want to do a cut.
You just do a pause.
So, okay, we just open here.
Right.
I start like this, and then I shoot this.
I don't think we need
camera.
to see him.
Okay, I just
Yeah, just that.
Okay.
So that's 9 o'clock tomorrow.
You should say something about now I've set the alarm, or I better set the alarm, or now the alarm's set, or something.
So the alarm is set. Okay.
I've prepared the thing in the drawer. So here we have the door code.
Okay.
That will be stuck on the inside. Actually, it should be your handwriting, not mine now that I think about it.
So the thing was to use the thumb to reveal the code because
Right.
first the code is scrambled. There are two ways of doing this. One is with a stack of post-it and we just peel them off. The other is with transparencies.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's up to Bob. Which do you prefer?
what does Bob say?
I think this might be easier with several post-its.
You're Ed, so you do the same number about arriving here, and you say, Bob, did you know that the door code has changed? And then I'm going to shoot you from here. Maybe we could put the drawer on this side so it's easier to shoot.
The first
first
one
one
has
is
the
scrambled.
scrambled.
Second.
You do the thumb, you take it out. We do a cut with the right code. Then you cross it out. We do a cut with the blank thing, and
then
you
I
write
the
the
new
new
one.
So you don't need this one. Now the thing we want to see is you sit down because you're madly working at your computer. Can you try draw on this side?
Can we do a title card for this so that we've got a clean place to start from? I recommend doing this. And
Yeah,
what
you
do we
do
want
it
to say?
because you-
10 minutes later or Ed arrives?
Both.
Okay, so I'm going to just shoot this really quick. 3, 2, 1. Ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hi Bob.
Hi Ed.
Did you know the door code has changed?
No.
I think you should note it somewhere.
Yeah, I have.
The new code is 257.
Wait. I have a post-it somewhere. Okay.
For the sequence with the post-it, I think we should be closer so we can see really what's happening.
Okay.
So there are 3 cuts. So he's going to put his thumb,
Right.
take it off. I peel the first one, the number appears,
Okay.
and he crosses it out. Then we do a cut again.
Right.
Then I peel off that one,
Yeah,
and the
right.
third one has nothing in there, and he's going to write the new number.
Everybody ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Three, hand out of the frame. It's still in the frame. 3, 2, 1.
Two, 5, 7.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Great! Now we're going to do the part where Bob gets the phone call from his wife.
So the phone's gonna ring. You can make the phone ring.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Yep. Yeah, I was just about to leave. Did you reach Debbie? Okay. Do you have her number? Yeah, just a second. So 6, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'll try to pick her up and I'll just call her and I'll just call you back later. Okay, bye.
You stay there. I move. And now we're going to use the second camera.
So we want to show the car here.
Does that make sense to start out zoomed in here with him writing? And then, you see what I'm doing, Michel? Nicolas, can you see?
Yeah.
And then if I zoom out there, I can see it happening at the same time.
And so what I'll do is, once the post-it is there, I'll take my hand off and we'll see it.
Right.
And then
I think we need to
once-
rehearse this one. Okay, so I would go 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Let us call Debbie.
Well, let's see if this works. I'm just putting it in here.
Toot, 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 toot. Hi Debbie, it's Bob. I don't remember the exact number of your place. Could you just give me the number?
You should ask her for her address, not a number, because number sounds like
Okay.
phone number. So her address. And the second thing is, you have to link this to the car.
And for that, I need to be close up because I actually can see the little car if I zoom in like this.
The other thing is, I think we need a little highlight on the car, like we did for the alarm before. Well, we're gonna have to do a cut for this little highlight here.
So I take the note, use it for calling her, then put the note here.
You pick up the post-it, put it into the phone, and as you start talking to her, you stick the post-it there, and you push car. And you don't move.
Oh,
You can do this before you've talked to her. And at this point we do a cut.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll slide this underneath,
Mm-hmm.
and then you do the talking to her and writing.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
framed properly.
I think we should try shooting it.
Okay. Michelle, you should indicate to me when I cut with your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so let's see if Debbie's here. Doot, 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 doot. Okay, put this in the car.
Sorry, I was zooming and you went too fast to the car, so I don't know. I guess it's okay, but I didn't really see.
Can you rewind a little bit just to the finger? Or we just redo it. I mean,
Well, it's nice. It just needs to go more slowly so that I can do it. So if we could just do that little bit again. First of all, I have you framed. Then I need to zoom in so that I can see you touching the car thing. Then I need to stop. Then the car thing has to come on.
Okay.
And then I need to be able to zoom out to catch that. Okay?
so we're set? Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. 3, 2, 1.
So let's see if Debbie's home. Doot, 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 doot.
Don't move. Don't move. And here. Finger down.
Oops, it's moved. Nope, it's moved just a touch.
Okay, so now pick up
Then-
your pen while she's moving back, and I'll show the thing on that screen.
Right.
Okay.
Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hi Debbie, this is Bob Smith. Yeah, I'm coming to pick you up at your place. So, can you give me the exact address? Yeah, wait a second. Okay, so, right, so I'll be there in 5 minutes or so. Bye.
Okay. What's going to be the thing that happens next?
Well, basically he's going home. The post-it note is in his car. So now you're going to go to your
Just
car.
driving on your car. You come in from the left, you do something like this, you pick up your steering wheel, it actually moves, and so on, and you say, okay, there's the address.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
64. Yep, that's it.
You have a good shot of your back and not much of the steering wheel. And
So-
then the idea is that he can pull that post-it note off the screen and take it with him.
I forgot my post-it note.
Well, let's do it this way. He comes back and say, "Oops, I."
Well, I just have him braking, so that's okay.
And so you just show him taking
Yeah,
it.
so if you can kind of sit, because you're your head is nowhere near in the frame, not even remotely. Well, you know, it's weird, but that looks fine, believe it or not.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so let's take the address.
The final scene is
Well, the final scene is
he's at home.
maybe.
Maybe we just cut to tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Then there's the next morning. He goes to the office,
Right.
and the post-it note for which he set this alarm, this reminder,
Appear on the computer
will
screen.
glow on the screen when he enters his office. He had to call Alice by 9. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay. So I will
So,
shoot this
do we-
really fast. Okay, I'm going to shoot for
Real-
a second. So quiet. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Good.
So we just want this to be on here.
Yeah. And so I'm going to shoot. We don't need this camera anymore. We just have this one. But should it show that it's this is an electronic post-it note in some way, as opposed to a real
It's
one?
gonna look very electronic here.
Put a shiny something on it. It's like that shiny yellow thing on top.
Okay,
Have it
that
appear.
looks much better. So
Right.
I think
Oh,
he
see.
comes in. He
Right.
said, "Oh, what's that? All right, I have to call Alice," and then you'll do a close-up
Right.
shot of this to show.
Okay. So you come over here. We don't need to rehearse this one. 3, 2, 1.
What's that? I have to call Alice before 9. I think I'd better see her right now.
And then you want me to do a close-up?
Well,
of
yes. Well, you can move the camera, I guess.
Since you're the narrator, do you want to say that this is Bob's electronic calendar post-it has appeared on the screen?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
So the post-it note that Bob set as a reminder yesterday has showed up on his screen to remind him to call Alice at 9 a.m.
Okay, and then we should just shoot the credits and we're done.
Okay.
Which I believe. Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
This is Thursday afternoon. It's 4:45 p.m.
Bob? Oh, I guess he's not here. Well, I better leave him a note. Let's see.
Okay, so here's what the note says. Hi Bob, check the mark page and sketch the new entry. Please call me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tomorrow at 9 a.m. Alice.
Oh, another note from Alice with a new phone number. Yep.
Okay, so the phone number for Alice has been copied onto his wallet.
So that's 9 o'clock tomorrow. So the alarm is set. Okay.
Hi Bob.
Hi Ed.
Did you know the dual code has changed?
No.
I think you should note it somewhere.
Yeah, I have.
The new code is 257.
Wait, I have a post-it somewhere. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I was just about to leave. Did you reach Debbie? Okay. Do you have her number? Yeah, just a second. So, okay. 1, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'll try to pick her up and I'll just call her and I'll just call you back later. So let's see if Debbie's home. Hi Debbie, this is Bob Smith. Yeah, I'm coming to pick you up at your place. So, do you have? Can you give me the exact address? Yeah. Wait a second. Okay, so. Okay. Right. So I'll be there in 5 minutes or so. Bye. Two, 64. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's take the address. What's that? I had to call Alice before 9. I think I'd better see her right now.
So the post-it note that Bob set as a reminder yesterday has showed up on his screen to remind him to call Alice at 9 a.m.
So we're going to be doing a design walkthrough. We will start with playing the entire video prototype that we did through so that you get an idea. Michelle will be presenting it. You each have a copy of the scenario and you can follow along as you like. After that, what we will do is go back to the beginning and play individual clips in order, in addition to any general comments that you want to give us. It's good to have each person have a particular point of view that they offer. So Annabelle, we're going to ask you to give us a user's perspective because part of this comes out of our observations of you and several other users. Guillaume, since you've been studying this kind of technology, I'd like to get your advice on the technical implications here. Michelle, your expertise is in interaction design, and so I'd like you to think particularly about the interaction, and I'll look at it from a marketing perspective. I'll be the moderator of the discussion. I have asked Guillaume to write notes as we go through, and Michelle, as I said, will be the presenter. I'd like comments to be as positive as possible. You can tell us if you don't like something, but it's better to say it in a positive way. To start, it's Michelle, and if you can present the scenario.
Before we watch the tape, you have the scenario here. This is a scenario we built from what we call a work scenario that was based on our interviews and observations. Here we have incorporated ideas from our brainstorming sessions. So the scenario involves Alice, Bob, who's an architect. Alice is Bob's boss. We'll have also Charlotte, Bob's wife, we'll call him on the phone, and Debbie, the babysitter.
And Ed.
And Ed also is a colleague of Bob. So we'll watch the tape now. So this is Thursday afternoon, it's 4:45 p.m. and this is Alice. So this is Bob, he's coming back. So this is some sort of electronic paper. So the phone number for Alice has been copied. Then is going to set the reminder for tomorrow 9 a.m. Puts the post-it there, circles the time, and pushes this magic button at the top saying schedule this post-it to appear tomorrow at 9. Next morning he comes back and the post-it that he had scheduled for his calendar is displayed onto a screen. So the post-it note that Bob said as a reminder yesterday has showed up on the screen. Reminding to call Alice.
Good.
And this is it.
And so now what we'll do is rewind that and go back and look at it step by step.
I think the first clip that's really of interest here is when Bob comes back into his office. And I think we should look at the sequence where he transfers the information from the post-it. So let's play it.
So he has a small PDA and he copies the...
He basically copies the phone number. The phone number for Alice has been copied.
Right, so what do you think?
If it could work that way, from an interaction perspective, it seems very natural.
Yeah, and from a user perspective, it also seems natural, yes, you're right.
So how hard is this to actually...
Technically, I think we have two options, maybe embedding an RFID tag inside the post-it. But then we have to choose whether we use the post-it itself as a sensor for pressure data of finger, or do we use the PDA?
Underneath.
And if we use the post-it, we have to find a way to locate precisely the post-it on the PDA too.
So there's cost implications in both of those.
Yeah, but I think that anyway, in other uses of this post-it, we have to use something like RFID tag.
But that gets tricky if you're selling these because, you know, when you sell, you know, a can of beans, you've got a unique code, but that's the same code for every can.
Line, yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be the case for that, yes.
That's right.
They could do like banknotes. Banknotes have unique identifiers.
I think such a post-it note would be quite an interesting thing to have because it really makes you save time, and also it's a sure way to transfer information. I mean, if you have to copy down the telephone number, you might make a mistake.
Well, there was a second part where he's entering this in the calendar using this button in his.
Oh right, he had what was it, 4 buttons?
So let's watch it again.
Yeah, I think.
Here we go.
So that's actually in his calendar or diary.
Puts it there, circles the time and day in the calendar, and pushes that button that says schedule that
At that
posted
time.
at that time. I think we'll have to work more in detail about how would this work for other actions like changing the time or deleting
Or changing the information on the post-it note.
because this is a bit optimistic.
We would run into situations where it would get harder. And you don't want to keep adding more buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Lots
you
of
want
things.
to keep things as simple as possible, otherwise, from a user's point of view.
The first thing that we looked at with the telephone number, that was very direct. So you
Yeah.
say, I want this number in that place, and it's done.
So I think now we're going to look at the next sequence where Ed comes in.
Hi Bob. Hi, did you know the door flag changed?
Okay, so he's putting his thumb on to say he has the authorization.
Then he erases it, and the thing disappears. Then he writes a new code, and presumably
Disappears again.
it disappears again, or something happens that we haven't shown.
Right. My first question is, who would buy this? Because it seems like it would be a fairly expensive edition. You were hiding this thing in the drawer. Would you pay extra to have something where you put your thumb on it? And
Yeah. I have to say my use was a bit different from his, because I was not really hiding the post-it note in my drawer. I didn't want to have too much clutter on my desk, but I can understand that someone would make use of that for hiding information, and especially because it's something you can update.
how about technically?
Technically, I think that it's too early to have something really integrated into the post-it. But maybe one possibility would be to have an external device which scans for fingerprints and that is somehow connected to the post-it block.
And that would presumably be better because you could use it for different things as well.
Yeah.
So it would end up, from a marketing point of view, easier to sell.
Although from an interaction, it means that instead of having the post-it that has that's encrypted and just putting your thumb on it, you have to find this device, which will
Which
be
might be
somewhere
next to it or might not
underneath
be.
something on your desk.
I think busy businessmen or busy people in general would be quite interesting in such a device, especially if they are so busy that they become forgetful.
So this is when his wife is calling. So what we have here is the same approach we've seen before. So I don't know if you have any comments. Although here there was a little thing where he slides the post-it on his phone and that enters it in the phone.
For that, I think the RFID could be reused for this purpose.
It also requires that you do handwriting recognition,
Yeah, yeah,
which
sure.
may or may not work. And
Although it's something that works immediately because you test it. You write down the number, it interprets it, you call, and if it doesn't work, then you modify it at the
Yeah.
time. And that seems like an option that you can have or not, whether you want the recognition or not. You can slot it in or not.
And then, so sharing this post-it with the car works as before by clicking this car icon.
Now, if we stop there, that presupposes that it's already connected to his car, not just anybody's car. This is one of the technical things we'll have to work out. It could be just that you buy a set of linked blocks and you say, I take this one and now it's in my car, and I put the other one on my refrigerator and I have my other one in my office, and they just stay linked.
Instead of being tied to a particular place, it could be tied to the user, so that when the user enters the car,
Yeah,
then the car displays everything that belongs to that user. And
that's
so
interesting.
if he takes another car, his
Yes.
post-its will be displayed.
And also the opposite, which is that if, say, you and I are both driving the same car, I get my notes when I'm driving and you get
Yeah.
your notes when you're driving.
Yeah.
I'm going to fast forward through this so we get to the part where he's in the car.
Now that's the interesting part. You can think of this as a shared screen. So I write on here, it captures what I'm writing and puts the information on a screen that's in my car. This takes it one step further. So I've gone from physical information into virtual information. And then I have virtual information that turns back into physical information that I can take with me.
If we use electronic ink, this could be on display as well. So.
That's right.
It would be something very useful to have because you often need to have a post-it note in several places. I mean, most of the time it's not enough just to have one in your drawer or on your desk. I mean, if you go home, you might forget, but you have something to do. So it's good to have another one at home and maybe another one in your car.
From the scenario here, it looks too simple. Just picks the post-it. Before he had to sort of rub it into his PDA or his calendar. I mean, if it's on a display on his dashboard to get it onto some piece of paper or electronic paper, it would have to do some action to copy it onto there.
Not if it's a pad.
Or if it's
like
really
this.
a pad, okay.
If it's really literally a pad of blank sheets, and then it changes all the little pixels in here, and it becomes the display, and then when you pull it off, it stops being
So it's
connected,
really
so
not
you
there
can't
anymore.
keep changing it, but it just sticks with what it's got.
Okay.
So that would work.
Well, can we do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that would be nice. And I think there are a lot of uses for this beyond the kind of use that we're talking about. This would be a big market.
I think the last section here is when he comes back to work the next morning and post-it shows up on the screen because he had scheduled it in his calendar.
Right. Now that's always a problem there because here we're saying it's actually part of his computer screen. And so it's taking up space. It's assuming that he's got his screen set up to have one of these things pop up.
Yeah, I mean, why would it pop up on that particular screen?
When the user logs on, all the alarms or warnings for this user would pop up when he just arrives.
But you'd have to really protect it from spam. So you can't have it be universally accessible. It has to be something that you give specific people permission to. And also, frankly, I prefer the interface that we had in the car, which is that I just have my little block of notes. I can pull it with me and take it if I want, or I can reuse that post-it note and just say I got the information and have it go blank again and reuse it for the next one. They should be cheap enough that I don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, and I don't know from user perspective if you want to see things popping up on your screen at random times.
Yeah, I think that would be quite a useful thing to have because, I mean, when Bob enters his office, it's immediately there on his screen, so he can't miss it.
I think it works as long as there's only one or two of them.
Exactly,
As soon
but
as you
not
get
too many. Exactly.
Right. Then you get the string of them, and it doesn't work. Although with this model, you could have, several of them. You could have the whole pack, in fact. But that's the usual problem.
Well, I think we have a lot of information here to go back and
work through it again and think about this same technology in a different setting, and then think about the same setting and more kinds of things that we can do. So thank you very much. That's a big help.